On today's episode of WGTV, NASA is preparing their astronauts for the upcoming missions to the moon, the community is coming together to support our local Special Olympic athletes, and schools are uniting to form one of the top 20 teams in state. These stories and more on this episode of WGTV.
Good afternoon, Wildcats, and thank you for tuning into this episode of WGTV. Live from the Grove, I'm Olivia Cook.
And I'm Millie Salinas.
We have many exciting stories coming up, but first, Millie's going to catch you up on what's been happening at the Grove. Millie?
April 18th, Walnut Grove is hosting its first ever talent show. If you would like to showcase your talent, scan the QR code on the screen to register. The event will be held during Grove time in the auditorium. Admissions cost $2 to attend. Walnut Grove is partnering with the American Childhood Cancer Organization for their Jammin' for Kids with Cancer event. On April 16th, wear pajamas to show that kids with cancer are not fighting alone. Additionally, to donate to the organization, scan the QR code above. The solar eclipse will occur today around 1:30, where the moon will entirely block the sun. Before the event starts, students will be given eclipse glasses and will be dismissed to watch the event. Do not look at the eclipse directly without eclipse glasses. Prosper's HEB officially broke ground on Thursday. The Prosper HEB is located down Frontier Parkway next to Children's Health Stadium. HEB stated that the store will open around fall of 2025.
As we turn our eyes to the stars for the eclipse, NASA has its sights on the moon. Ryan Shelton gets an insider look on how NASA prepares astronauts for space.
3, 2, 1, 0.
On July 16, 1969, 3 astronauts took off from Earth to make history as the first men on the moon. Next summer, nearly 55 years later, NASA will begin its crewed missions to the moon again.
My name is Rick Schuring. I'm one of the NASA flight surgeons, and my role in Artemis is I am the lead crew surgeon for the Artemis II crew. That means that you're actually one of the doctors who's accompanying the crew in all aspects of their mission except flying. You are their doctor, so you're doing their flight physicals. If any medical problems come up, you're managing their medical problems and a whole host of other things.
At NASA, lots of work goes into making sure astronauts are physically prepared for space. Part of this is making sure that the body can stay healthy in the low gravity of the moon.
Our bodies were designed to be in 1G, in other words, Earth's gravity. When you go into microgravity, there's certain cells in your bone called osteoblasts which shut off, and then that allows the bone to resorb. If you're not walking around in 1G, the muscles in your low back and in your legs will atrophy significantly because you're really not using them anymore in space.
The upcoming lunar missions are not only a once-in-a-lifetime event. The health data gathered with modern technology will decide the future of space travel.
I'm hopeful that 1/6 Earth gravity is enough to keep those osteoblast bone cells awake and healthy, and that the muscle cells will be awake and healthy. And that's one of the big jobs we have to do during Artemis when we go back to the moon, because then that'll answer the question for Mars, because Mars is 1/3 Earth G. So there's more gravity because Mars is much, much bigger than the moon. If the moon does support these different physiological systems, then we can be pretty confident that on Mars, they'll be really healthy.
Ensuring that missions to Mars and beyond will be physically possible for humans is a critical first step in the next space age. Reporting for WGTV, I'm Ryan Shelton.
Artemis II is expected to launch summer of 2025. For more information, visit nasa.gov.
In Texas news, a crash last Monday on North Central Expressway has been linked to Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice. According to NBC, 4 other vehicles were involved in the crash, but it is unknown if Rice was driving the car or was only a passenger. The crash is still under investigation by Dallas authorities. Last week, multiple areas around America experienced a wave of heavy storms, with storms starting in California and making its way eastward. In North Texas, many towns were hit with golf ball-sized hail. In the Midwest, many states were hit with tornadoes, placing millions under shelter.
Attention shifts to the inspiring collaboration unfolding in Prosper, where presidents unite to support their local Special Olympics.
About fun. Special Olympics, it's a very nice thing.
I always tell them, I said, hey, we have to win this and let's do it.
Pulling, tugging, and uniting together, one step at a time. Residents and students across Prosper have been gathering to support Walnut Grove's local Special Olympians.
So the purpose of the event is just to raise money and awareness of our Special Olympics program throughout the district and the community. It's raised some good money, but more so it's brought this community and the district together, pulling for a good cause. We started hosting more and more events, and it enables us to get more resources, more equipment. It just opens a lot more doors in terms of what we can do and what we can offer for the students.
Events throughout Prosper ISD are funding the Special Olympics. Among these, the fire truck pull stands out as an opportunity for volunteers to raise awareness.
Well, my role is to promote getting people, staff members, family members to sign up for the fire truck pull. We want as many people as we can to create teams to go out and to benefit the district and for Special Olympics. They love being out there just like everyone else. They want to be included. They've done an amazing job and they're having so much fun.
The past 3 years of these events were made to allow students with special needs to have greater opportunities and aspirations by having local law enforcement and the fire department get involved.
Teams and how many people were out here watching the teams pull and just added on to the event. The special needs kids that we have here, such a blessing to see them. This is really for them. We're proud of this community, and the students are what make this community what it is in Prosper ISD. It was for such a great cause, and we had an amazing time out here.
The gathering of so many people from every corner of Prosper shows their support for the Special Olympics, and with the right encouragement, anyone can be an athlete. With WGTV, I'm Christopher Muchmeyer.
From pulling to running, these student athletes' goals have been uplifted by support from Prosper's community. On the topic of student athletes, Sharika Call is in the studio to fill you in on Walnut Grove sports. Sharika?
Thanks, Olivia. Let's start with soccer, where both boys and girls made playoffs. Boys won round 1 versus Reedy with a 4-0 shutout. Round 2 was against WT White, where once again the boys won 1-0. Unfortunately, the boys' run would end in round 3 against Wakeland, losing 4-1. The girls' playoff run started off with a 2-0 win against the Colony. The following game was against Sunset, where the girls dominated with a 5-0 victory. Headed into round 3, the girls faced off against Wakeland, and it was a tough battle, but Wakeland ended up winning 1-0, ending the girls' season. Both of the soccer teams had a great inaugural season, and we know they'll be back next year. Baseball had a 2-game series against Emerson, and while the first game was a 7-0 loss, the second game was a 5-0 win. Leading the way was senior Trent Collier, who pitched a complete game shutout, striking out 11 batters. The offense also exploded in Game 2, racking up 11 hits. Softball has been on fire, taking consecutive wins on the field. Hudson Acosta takes a closer look at their recent victories.
Walnut Grove softball team has risen in the ranks within recent months and has reached goals higher than they could have ever desired. But it becomes a question of how they did it with such a new team dynamic.
A lot of the girls came from Prosper, a few came from Rock Hill, but they all knew each other. And then playing in the select world, it was more about getting them comfortable with one another and then getting them to understand how I want the team to function and the culture that we want to set. And so we spent a lot of time early on setting that tone.
From laying the foundation to building a powerhouse of a team, it's clear that the journey of these athletes has been one of unity and determination, which began as a group of girls from different schools and quickly evolved into something much more.
This team is really special, I think. Not only do we have a lot of different people from different schools, and we just kind of put us all together, but we have a really good chemistry bond with each other, and we have a very competitive mindset, that we can beat anybody.
With players from across the district coming together to form a team within the top 0.1 percentile of softball teams across the state, it becomes a question of how they believe that they could achieve such greater goals at such a new school.
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I know we were getting some good players from Rock Hill and Prosper, but it's been great just being able to get a part of it and see how it's built over time.
As this season draws to a close, the players of this remarkable team not only reflect on their accomplishments, but also look ahead to the future and how they plan clawing their way to new heights. With WGTV, I'm Hudson Acosta.
With softball's 28-2 winning streak, they're sure to bring home many more wins in the future. That's all for today's sports recap. Back to you, Millie and Olivia.
Thank you, Sharika. That's all we have for today's episode for WGTV. I'm Millie Salinas.
And I'm Olivia Cook. Thanks for watching, and remember, Wildcats, set the standard.